Welcome to Wild and Weird Radio, a Wild and Weird West Virginia podcast. Welcome to Wild and Weird Radio, a Wild and Weird West Virginia podcast. Tonight, we are going to go over our year in review, and that is going to be covering Wild and Weird West Virginia, Hellbent, Holler, Wild and Weird Radio, and a little bit of everything in between. So this is going to be fun. This was a great episode the last year, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it because we're going to touch on a lot of stuff tonight. We're going to give you guys a little bit more of a deep dive into Jessie and her work with Hellbent Holler tonight as well, because you're going to get a brief introduction, or rather a more thorough introduction rather than a brief introduction that we did with her in our episode, because you're going to get
we're going to get a Jessie origin story.
Yeah, we're going to get a Jessie origin story.
Wow,
yeah,
cool.
That's what this is.
Well, I don't think the statute of limitations has not passed yet. So we're going to have to kind of redact a few things in there, at least if I want to stay within country. So
Right.
Sure. Understandable. We can make things happen. You know, Ron can edit it out. It's good.
Good editing. We're good.
So how's everybody's holiday weekend been? I hope you guys had a good time. Mine was a little hectic, but good.
I had a blast. I mean, I can't complain. It was a lot of fun. We went down and I actually got to see the lights of Gallipolis.
That's a great little
cool.
light show.
Loved it. It was really cool. And I got to stop by the museum just to pick up a new shirt, and Jeff was there, and I got a treat there talking to Jeff for a little bit. So that was fun. So
good times.
Yeah, he's got jobs for us. Anyway, work. Yeah. But but no, it was a lot of fun. If anyone hasn't seen those, I suggest go down next season and take a look.
So Jessie, how was yours?
it was good. It was.
You had a birthday too.
Yes,
She did.
I did.
You know, last week was Jessie's birthday. It was my son's birthday as well. So happy birthday, Jessie.
Happy birthday,
Everybody just go ahead, press pause right now, sing happy birthday to Jessie, and then, press play, and we'll just applaud right there.
I had to work on my birthday, but that was okay. I worked through the week, and then Christmas was fun. I went to my friend's house on Friday night. We had traditional German food. And
nice.
My friend Katie and I had a bottle of 12-year-old Jameson. So that was fun. Yes, it was very fun. We had
Can't beat Jameson 12-year. That's a good
Oh,
No, it's a 12-year special reserve. It is pretty darn good. And then I cooked dinner for my family on Saturday, and today we kind of went out and checked out any kind of like leftover Christmas stuff that was in stores, and I bought a new camera.
Nice.
I got in a new camera for the show here. So our commenter.
She's no longer in a bag of potatoes, guys.
Yeah, our commenter from last week. I was like, he said it looked like I filmed it with a potato. So we have a mic, we have a better camera. So look, we're doing well.
This just proves that, you are in control of us. If you speak, it may happen. So
Don't push it.
Okay.
Well,
those were all upgrades that were coming. So that was really
cool. And we're glad everything's still moving along. We're chucking right into the year 2022, and just so you guys know how confused I am about it all, we went to our my kids' 2-year appointment, and I wrote the date as 2020. I just completely omitted a year, I guess. And
wow.
But yeah, so
I could understand you forgetting 2020, but not 2021. Right. I mean, I just don't understand that. That's not normal.
So memorable things. Here we go. That's a good segue. Memorable things from 2021.
Wait, I'm gonna play. Wait, I'll make some theme music with my new toy. Okay.
Oh God.
Okay. All right, so this is one of my.
Show them how it works, Ron.
This is okay. All right, let's turn up the volume because that's what you got to do first, right? Because everybody likes it on 12. All right, so.
For those of you guys who can't see, it looks like Ron is playing some kind of a magical ball.
Actually, it's a little music note. This is an automaton. They're a very fun little instrument from Japan, and you'll be hearing a lot of that probably in the theme music as we go forward. Dave's looking really forward to playing.
It's all automaton all the time.
It will be.
So, let's see. We came in. We're coming up on a 2-year anniversary. We're here with Wild and Weird Radio. We're still, I think, 2.5 months out from that. But we went through all year last year with you guys and brought you along this wild and weird journey, oddly enough. And we were coming out of the pandemic land and moving into a more normal way of things going on. And we were actually able to get out and go do some shows. And I remember the first show that we actually went and did was OBC.
Oh yeah.
And we got to see a bunch of people, and it was great seeing everybody again, being back out for the first time in forever. But I think the biggest takeaway from the spring of this year for us was a lot of Bigfoot stuff, because UFOs were hitting hard in January. We'd made some predictions. If you go back and listen to last year's year in review, we made some predictions on the show about what we thought was going to happen.
That was the simulation, wasn't it? Is that what the episode was?
It was, but we revisited it in the year-end show.
No, we did.
And we made predictions for this year, and we were right on the predictions, but the time frame was way sooner than what we had expected.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was pretty neat. Then we had the Wineberry incident.
Yes.
And that case was sent in to us. We went and investigated it. For anybody who wants to watch that, we can drop a link here in the episode. If you haven't seen it yet, we can drop a link in the description down below, along with a lot of the other links that are going to be with Jesse's videos as well. But that was a pretty big deal.
Wineberry was a very big deal. I expected to go out and literally just be, after we conducted the phone interview, I really expected just to go out and collect this story from a witness, and add it to our files. It was a 2-year-old case, and they had just heard some sounds, some calls a couple weeks before, and that's what really triggered all this. But I really didn't expect us to find anything. And it was really cool to be out there and actually show what an actual investigation looked like without even thinking about it. I just grabbed my phone. We grabbed the Osmo I was shooting on at the time, right?
Shooting on the Osmo.
Yeah. So I took those out, and the rest is pretty much it's there. It's history. And what happens is pretty unreal. I mean, it made me think.
And we're making a visit back to Wineberry very soon. So you guys will have to check that out when we go back out there, because she has been reporting some new activity. Mm-hmm. Things have been starting to get a little weird around there. So we're going to go check it out again.
Well, I'd like to say, just because of this, and we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it because you can go watch the video. But if you do watch the video, you'll notice I shot everything from behind the witness, because at the time she didn't really want to be shown on film, and she wasn't too sure about it. And by the end of, I love this story because at the end of it, she's like, okay, well, you can put me in the video. Of course, now I can't, because, I've shot her all day from behind, and did everything I can to keep her face out of the video. But what's really amazing about it is we went from someone who was totally afraid to go out there, terrified to go out there, to someone who's now actively a junior researcher, pretty much. I mean, that's what we do. That's how we do it. That was awesome.
Sometimes it helps people to get it off their chest and talk about it, and then talk about it with other people who, have an open mind and believe them. A lot of these witnesses are mostly terrified because they're afraid of ridicule as well. And I think you guys going out there and talking to this witness and, doing this investigation really helped her get more confident in doing it herself and feeling like maybe I'm not crazy. Maybe I can do this, and it gives her kind of confidence to go and seek this out.
Yeah,
it really did, and it was really cool seeing that happen, and then being able to kind of work with her over the phone and all that for the last about 6-8 months, and helping her develop her skills in going out and looking at stuff, documentation, and how to collect data.
Yeah,
it's been really neat.
It has been. And that's a great segue right there, because we also did something very similar, didn't we? As far as helping people with skills and so forth and so on.
We hosted the very first West Virginia High Strangers Collective workshop, and it was a Bigfoot investigation workshop. It was the first workshop of its kind that had been done in West Virginia ever. And it was the first time that any kind of these workshops have been done in this Appalachian region that was an open invite kind of event for people to come and attend and take part in ages. There were a couple that were done by Don Keating over in Ohio, right across the river from us. He had done those, but he'd quit doing those a few years back. He's just started helping some folks out with a new convention. They're doing some workshops as well now. And then we've seen some interest pick up all around the state based off of those workshops. And we just want to thank everybody that came out to those. Yep. We are hosting 2 more of those workshops.
At least,
one will be, at least 2. One will be in the Monongahela National Forest, and the other one will be back in Kanawha State Forest, where we held the first one. So you guys can look forward to that. We're going to do one in the spring, probably one in the fall. We'll keep everybody posted. You'll be in the loop as we develop and get this thing on the roll.
Yeah, you had a lot of people I noticed after this event were like, well, I wish we'd have known. I mean, we advertised it as much as we could. It really helps when you guys see these things on our pages and share them.
Yeah.
That really helps, because we may put it out there and share it ourselves, but if you share it, it actually goes to other people, you see, that we can't reach.
It goes to a broader reach, people that we're not friends with.
And even if it's something that you don't plan on attending or you're not able to attend, there might be somebody in your circle that you are in touch with that is interested in these things, that maybe they'll be able to attend and maybe they'll be able to get something out of it. So it's just really important that you share anything like this with anybody that you might think may be interested in it. And that's the only way we're going to introduce more people to this education and this whole subject and all this work and everything like that, is if you share it with others and kind of spread it around and kind of talk about it more. I think that's like the most important thing we can do, is just get more people involved.
Absolutely. And it's such a cool thing too, because now, you and Joe with Hellbent Holler are going to be a part of at least one of these workshops that we're doing. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be awesome seeing you guys up there, and everybody who's here on the radio show will be at least one of the workshops all together, and working with you guys in how to do field data collection, and how to properly go about yourself and, navigate the woods and navigate whatever type of research arena that you're in. Because we're also planning a UFO workshop that Ron is going to be working more intently with than I'm going to be there and be the dangerous voice saying, I'm good enough to know what I'm talking about and be dangerous. But Ron's going to head that one off. And it's going to be mostly stargazing and looking at the night sky. It's going to be an event that will be held in the evening time. And we're going to have equipment with us as well, looking at the sky. So
we have Dave Roberts on board for that one.
Yeah, well. Dave Roberts would be on board with that one as well. Just like in the other workshops that we do. Dave is always part of those. So
gotta give him a little plug, right? I mean,
Dave has the big brain when it comes to astronomy and things that should and shouldn't be in the sky. So
he's smart.
Yeah, he is the smart guy. Then so let's go back. We hit Wineberry, we hit the workshops and all that stuff. We've got the big reveal that took place really there in spring, where the timeline ran up and the government had to start talking.
Oh yeah, that's right. We did finally get that off the ground, didn't we? The great UFO report. and such a letdown to everyone. No, it wasn't. Everyone said that, and it blew my mind. It's like, did you not read the fine print? The fine print said that we need to look at this a lot closer, and we need more money to do it. Fast forward to a few weeks ago, $770 billion should be enough money to get that done, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, yeah, it wasn't just a bunch of nothing. It was a big deal, and we're just now seeing a lot more of that. And we'll talk about that later, because kind of chronology of the thing. But I thought that was just kind of funny. But yes, we did finally get our UAP report and change things a little.
That definitely got the ball rolling on all of this like ongoing disclosure that's going on, and all of these things that are coming out. Is that initial report that came out? Well, a lot of people said it was a big just nothing burger. It really started that ball.
Joe said that.
And it's amazing like what came out of it and what's coming out of it. And this is just getting started. And just to think, do you think the government or any other entities like that would have ever said any of this stuff on their own, 5-10 years ago? I mean, it's insane to think that they would ever disclose anything like this. So I think while it wasn't the big explosion of information we're looking for, I think it's definitely the beginning of something really, really shocking,
Yeah, I agree.
It is.
And like you guys mentioned, I was one of the guys that was saying that this is like a big nothing burger.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a glimmer of hope that it was going to actually spark something else. Now, when I really got intrigued was when I started seeing these special sessions being called. And the data dump didn't intrigue me as much at that point anymore, as much as these special sessions and these meetings being put together, and then committees being assembled, and then task force being put together. That right there was what really piqued my interest.
Why did it pique your interest? I want to know, because I know why it piqued your interest. What is your background?
Well, my background is I was sheet metal fabrication in the U.S. Air Force. And when I saw the information dump, I have seen a million disclosures. We've all seen thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of disclosed information just being dumped, and they'll drop these massive terabytes of data, right? Mm-hmm. It won't be in order. It'll be heavily redacted. And then you have to fish through it all and try to make sense of it, like it's some kind of Rubik's Cube of a puzzle. And if you're able to cipher through it all and piece some things together, great. So that's why I wasn't too interested in the big data dump that they did, and the big UFO report that was leaked out, or not leaked out, but released. And then whenever I saw things started being put together, that's when me, being former military, knew, oh, wait a minute, this is for real. They're for real getting into this, because they don't just put those committees together. They don't just assemble task forces. They don't just assemble these special sessions for nothing.
When do you do that,
cost
Joe?
big bucks.
When do you do that?
You only do that when there's a very strong sense of urgency. And when I saw the scramble that was taking place within the government, I knew that there was actually some, or at least some sense of threat to national security that they perceived. And that was what was causing them to be so preemptive and so active in their
UFOs
approach.
Don't currently represent a threat to the United States government.
That's what the report says.
Yeah. But that's what they said for years. But now it doesn't say that. Now it actually does say what you just said.
Yeah,
and that's exactly why the ball
was it back in August?
Yeah, when the report actually dropped, it kind of mentioned a threat. So, it didn't say so much a threat, but a potential. So to figure out what these things are, et cetera, et cetera. But again, that's for another show. But
it's just like watching the dominoes fall. When you start seeing it go, you can you see how serious it's being taken. And that, from me, with my background, my experience as a veteran, and any other veteran out there can attest to this, that when you start seeing these kind of actions being taken, there's something going on. It's not just smoke and mirrors. It's not just somebody trying to appease another group of people. This is actually something that is being done, and it's actively being done.
And it's actually an escalation going on.
Yeah,
for sure.
There seems to be some sort of escalation, and they're moving at a breakneck pace to assemble these task forces. Think about it. We have a UFO report that said no imminent threat to we have a task force assembled in under a year.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen unless you're like, I don't know, in wartime.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. And I'm not saying that we're in wartime. I'm not saying that's not what I'm getting at, but they're treating it like the level of urgency.
No, you're right. That's what I wanted to get at too, because that's exactly what you see. You see that kind of a real hyped up, preemptiveness that's going on. There's an urgency there. It's for a reason. And I think we talked a little bit about that when we did the whole presentation at Flatwoods this year.
Yeah, we did.
I really need to put that online for people to watch. Apparently,
right?
It's just really big. But
that was another highlight. We did speak. Ron and I spoke at the Flatwoods Monster Festival this year. The Braxy Bazaar is what it was called. Mm-hmm. But let's rewind a little bit, because we really were introduced to Jessie this year. I had begun following her on Instagram and all that back in 2020, because I actually became friends with Joe, her significant other, in I think 2019.
Yeah,
late 2019, and over on the Bigfoot forums, and then I started following her on Instagram and seeing the stuff that they were doing. And then we set up the interview, and then the cards of fate fell where they fell.
Yeah.
And now you are a part of what we do.
Yeah.
And so fill us in on your year. Let's hear from you. Let's hear how this went with the Hellbent Holler year in review.
Hellbent Holler. The Hellbent Holler highlights. No.
There we go.
I think one of the I will say, meeting you guys over the past year and really getting to know you guys has been really wonderful for me. It's you guys have really helped me kind of develop what I'm doing and kind of refine a few things. I've really enjoyed being on the show and doing, conventions and stuff, and just, meeting you guys and all that stuff. So that was definitely one of the highlights of my year, was being part of the Wild and Weird family and kind of just falling into place into this, and how things just weirdly came together like they did, I don't know if you could say that some people just don't believe in fate or, anything like that, but I definitely do. I think that things kind of came together in a very precise manner for some reason. But yeah, so this was definitely one of the highlights, was becoming a part of this and getting to know you guys through all of this. But in terms of my research and that kind of work, probably the biggest thing we did this year was in June. We went to the Land Between the Lakes, and we kind of got on this kick where we were mostly doing a lot of paranormal, Sasquatch type work. And we kind of got on this kind of kick on Dogman, and we kind of laughed at it.
You guys had kind of coined a hashtag. You're the Dogman Summer, right?
Dogman Summer, yeah.
Yeah. Hashtag Dogman Summer. I remember when you guys put that up. That was fun.
So we kind of we were kind of laughing at the whole Dogman thing, and it was like, this cannot be real. And we did a lot of research on Land Between the Lakes. We did a lot of research. We had old maps, we had everything. So we really planned for this trip for a couple of months. And the whole Dogman Summer came from, do you remember when Tom Hanks' son, Chet Hanks, did an Instagram video where he's sitting in his car and he goes, you know what? It's going to be a white boy summer. It's going to be a white boy summer. So that's where just Dogman Summer came out of that. But so we did a lot of planning for that trip, because it was a 7.5-hour drive for us from where we live to go to the Land Between the Lakes. The Land Between the Lakes is a national recreation area. The northern part is in Kentucky. The southern part is in Tennessee. It's bordered by 2 lakes that were created out of 2 rivers. It used to be the land between the 2 rivers. The land was confiscated from the people that live there by the TVA, and it's just a big long peninsula. It's about 42 miles long from end to end, and there's not a lot of people there. But there was a story that came out about a family in the early 80s that was killed by a dog man when they went to go camping there. And a supposed survivor came out and did an interview where he claims he was a survivor of the attack and the incident. So that kind of sparked us to be like, all right, let's go look into this. Let's go check it out. So we did a lot of research and went to check out the area. We went up there and we stayed for 4 or 5 days, and we did multiple night investigations in different areas, and we really checked out the area. We figured out where we think the camp area was. And there's a lot, it's really different to actually go to these places that you read about on forums and, and all these groups and stuff like that, where you hear stories about, and then to actually go there and actually see the lay of the land and like see the things that people are talking about. And then on top of that, to experience the stuff that we experienced, it was kind of life-changing. We kind of stopped laughing at the idea that there might be upright canids in the woods. I don't know if they're, I don't know what it is. I know that we got a thermal image on one night that looks like a canine, like a very, very large canine peering at us from the woods. So that was one of the weirdest days. That was one of the weirdest trips of my life. But we learned a lot about.
You remember how freaked out you were about it when you first came back and started sending us info. It was wild.
We were, and it kind of flipped us out, it really flipped us out. And then we were having paranormal experiences, like ghosts and like disembodied voices. We were just, it was almost like a little bit of everything. It was like a potpourri of paranormal while we were there. It's a very, very strange.
Kind of a Skinwalker Ranch kind of feel to it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's a new one, guys. If you're listening, put out there hashtag potpourri of paranormal. Paranormal potpourri.
Okay, that's ours. But we're taking that. Jess, it's yours too.
Anytime you guys talk to Jesse online, it's hashtag paranormal potpourri.
We will be making paranormal potpourri. That will be something of a new product that will be coming out in 2022, and it'll have the
sweetgrass,
Jesse
and
brand,
sage, and
we'll have some myrrh in there.
Yeah.
Well, apparently you're going to need it because for real, that place was a little weird, right? I mean.
Well, and another thing, like we went there, and it was cool. It's a beautiful place. There's not a lot of people there, and we were there. It should have been busy because it was summer, but there's like hardly anybody there. It's there's like nobody there. And
well, one of the speaking of that, one of the things that we noticed as well in a lot of our recreation areas here is this summer there just really wasn't a whole lot going on at them.
No.
And I think it was in part because in 2020 they were like out in force because there was nothing else to do other than go to recreational areas. And then they're like, yeah, we went and did that last year. Let's go back to the beach, something like that.
That's what they're doing.
But yeah, we noticed that wasn't that. I guess that just wasn't like an exclusive thing down there for you guys in that area. It was, we were experiencing the same thing here in our state parks and the national parks here in West Virginia. It was bizarre.
But I'll definitely take it, believe me, because it's really hard.
Oh yeah.
It's really hard to do this work if you go anywhere and you're anywhere on like public land and there's people everywhere, because any kind of data you get is just contaminated out the gate. You can't discount the human interaction or the human contamination of your data. So, if you go somewhere and there are people around, you can't say that, okay, I think this was something out of the ordinary because this contamination is there. So believe me,
you've got to rule out every other person there.
Yeah, absolutely. And another weird thing that happened there is I didn't want to leave. I did not want to leave. I was like, can we just stay here? Can we just stay here? Like, I was like, I don't know what it was. I did not want to leave. I was so upset that we had to leave. I mean, we had to come home, but I was just so upset we had to leave. So I made a 2-part series about our trip there. That's on my YouTube channel. Ron's going to link that below and everything. But I think that series kind of blew my YouTube channel up a little bigger, because a lot of people were interested in the LBL and the whole Dogman phenomenon. And that kind of helped me get to, I finally hit 1,000 subs on my YouTube channel this year. So that was a milestone for us. Because we don't put videos out constantly, because one thing that you find out when you do this research all the time is there's not stuff going on all the time. So it's not, you can't have like show-stopping evidence every day. It's just not possible if you're.
It's not like what you see on TV.
No, if you're being honest about the work that you do, and the data that you collect and the experiences you collect, you're not going to get crazy stuff happening all the time. So, yeah. But yeah, it's that tied into all that, and that was that is something I'll never forget. This has been a great year, partly because of that too. So.
Well, that's really, I mean, you're talking about these little coincidences that equal up to life. If you wouldn't have went there, you wouldn't be sitting here. I mean, that's what really landed you into this whole crazy, wild and weird thing. Was these two came to me and they're like, hey, there's this girl and she has this evidence, well, Joe's telling me who you are. And I'm like, well, I know Joe, I know of him, because I've been hearing all these stories forever. These two were sharing data back and forth, I think, about all the track casts and whatnot that were coming out of Kanawha State too. So I already knew that, you guys were pretty good because you were willing to share data, and that's a huge thing with me and with all of us, really. And that was it. I was like, okay, let's see what this is all about. And then when I got to see what you're talking about, and like I said, we will have a link up, that really did make me question a lot of stuff. It's like, because you think, don't you? You think, oh, that can't exist. Why can't it? And when I say everything on the table, when you put that on the table, it really makes you have to adjust some data sets at that point. You have to really think. So.
Yeah, it was really, really wild. And it kind of, I was in the same camp with you guys as far as how my approach to the Dogman reports, until you showed us that thermal. And then I was like,
I don't know what it is.
I have no idea what this is. This is different, but this could explain what people are seeing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So but you guys were just all the listeners, you guys are going to have to go check out that video.
Check it out. Let her know
both
what
of
you
them
think.
are phenomenal.
Let us all know what you think, because it remains to this day one of those. It remains one of those videos that actually made me really sit up and take notice to something. I always say everything is on the table and whatnot, and I try to keep belief systems out. But to me, I really did think that the whole Dogman thing just misidentified, creatures of some other type, like Bigfoot or what have you. And now, by the end of the year, I'm like, well, I don't even know what that is anymore. Is it really okay? Sure, why not? I don't know. When you start looking at this stuff, you have to really adjust, and if you don't adjust, you're gonna fall down into the believer side and start rejecting every possibility. And that's not where you want to be with this.
You have to adjust, or you're going to fall behind on everything. You're never going to progress in any of your work or your research or anything like that. If you're presented with new data, you have to accept that data and kind of move on from there and work with it. I mean, that's the only way that you can progress. I mean, that's the scientific method. You are presented with new data. It's new data. You got to readjust your hypothesis here and keep moving forward.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And again, like Ron was saying, your all's trip to the LBL was what prompted our original interview with you.
Yeah.
And then evolved into like where we're at today, calling you back and Wayne getting a hold of you and having you set in for him, and then, where we are now. So that trip for you was big in a lot of different ways, and it was big for us in a, not related, but just a branch off of that trip.
Yeah.
How it connected all of us together in the way it has. So that's just really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going back. I'm not disclosing when we're going back, but you'll know when we get back. So
awesome.
But we are going back, and we went during the summer. Like I said, we went during June, and it's we were not very smart about it. Like we got the tick key because there's more ticks in the LBL than I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
So like every night we would have to like inspect each other with a flashlight and use the tick key because we were covered in ticks every day. I didn't realize there's also a lot of copperheads in there, and we're just going through the woods. Like we have copperheads here, but apparently like LBL in the woods is insane with copperheads. And we're we good? Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
The government shut us down because we know too much about the dogman.
I think that might be what that was. Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah. UAPs, that's fine. They're over it. They've disclosed all of that. But when you start talking about the dogman,
that's when they come in. That's when they get you.
I'm pretty sure that was an EMP. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it knocked everything out. I had to fire up the secondary generators and everything. So, yeah.
So I was talking about, going back to the LBL. We're going back during colder months because last time we were very stupid. We went during the summer and we didn't have snake boots or anything like that. We were covered in ticks. We had a tick key for that. That's bad enough because you can get, Lyme disease and everything. But we remove all our ticks and everything. But we were not prepared for the snake situation there. So we're definitely going during colder months. And but yeah, we're going to go back soon and do a follow-up, and hopefully with it being colder and all the vegetation down, we get to go into areas that were way too grown up for us to explore. So
and your thermal reads will be a little bit more
legible. a lot clearer. So that's our plan, and we're gonna head out there and do a follow-up. So you'll definitely hear about that pretty soon.
That's going to be awesome. And you guys know we will definitely be screaming that from the rooftops whenever it's ready for release.
Yes.
So then you actually, you got to speak for the very first time publicly at a big event.
I did.
And so that was awesome.
Yes. Well, the first time I spoke publicly at a big event, I was at the National Shakespeare Competition. I came up second. So just so you know.
What?
Yes.
What? Are you for real?
Yeah, I did a monologue from Titus Andronicus on Lincoln Center stage when I was 17. Yeah, for the National Shakespeare Competition. Yes.
What? That is awesome.
So then I went to Wild and Weird Con many years later. But y'all invited us to come to Wild and Weird Con and invited me to speak. And I gave a presentation on research methodology, a lot of the equipment that we use, and basically just a primer for anybody who is interested in doing this kind of work and this kind of research to go out and start doing it. Even if you start small, just go out and start doing the work. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, you can sit behind a computer monitor all day long. You can read about it all day long, but unless you're in the woods, you are not getting a real feel about what is going on or what could be happening until you're actually doing boots on the ground research. So my whole purpose was to give people kind of the confidence to go and do that. But yes, it was the first time that I presented at a convention of any sort. And I think it went well. I think everybody really enjoyed seeing all of our equipment and stuff. So
it was another one of those incidents where people, after it was over, I wish I'd have known this was happening.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was so weird. But Wild and Weird Con was successful. We had a good time with Wild and Weird Con. It looked amazing. The people who came had an absolute blast. But there was a whole lot of people on the internet saying, I wish I would have known. I wish I would have known.
It's true.
And we literally paid for you to know.
Wild and Weird Con 2022 is when?
Wild and Weird Con 2022. You hear it here second, because I think we announced it in a video right after the event. But it is October the 15th of 2022. We're going to do a Friday night thing, same as last time. So it's the 14th and 15th. And it is going to be an absolute blast, guys. You do not want to miss this one. Hellbent Holler will be back presenting once again.
It's before Halloween, guys.
Yeah.
So mark your calendars right now.
Expect it.
Right now, because the lodge that it's at Chief Logan State Park in Logan, West Virginia. And I had never been up there or been to this lodge. And it is it's like a mini Stanley Hotel situation.
We spared no expense.
It's like
Literally.
in these mountains, and it's almost kind of creepy in a way. Like,
yeah,
you expect to come around the corner and see two creepy twins standing there with blood all over them. So it's like but it's like tucked away, and it's in like this beautiful remote area, but it's almost like a mini Stanley hotel in a way.
So if any cosplayers are out there that want to do that and show up, we won't stop you.
And I'm not giving you my room number for that, because you were not scaring me in the middle of the night. But we had an absolute blast. All of the speakers did such a great job. All the vendors that came out, it's just all the artists that came out and vended were so great. It was just a lot of fun. And like I said, that hotel is so cool, and everything is right there. It's in such a beautiful part of the country. It's a beautiful drive up. It's a beautiful stay. The hotel is really nice. There's a hot tub, which of course I got in the hot tub, of course, and I was there until after close. So it's just it's a really good way just to make a weekend out of it. And it's just a great place to be. And it was just so much fun to go and meet everybody and hang out. And it's almost like a big giant cryptid sleepover in a way, because everybody stays in the hotel and everybody's there, and it's just a blast. So I hope you guys can all come out this year for 2022, and join us, and let's just make some new memories, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a absolute blast.
It really is. And don't worry, you will know this time. You will hear us talk about it repeatedly over and over.
I'm not going to shut up about it. So
no, because
right.
it was a lot of fun, and a lot of people, the people who came absolutely loved it. The vendors, they loved it. We had so many incredible vendors. Yeah. Can't wait to see these guys back.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some predictions that we got coming up.
Let's look at some. I like predictions, and then I'm going back to the whole end of the year thing here, because it's really starting to.
Yeah.
It snowballed here in the last. Before we go to predictions,
November,
Ron, talk about the snowball.
Well, it was November is when I guess the snowball kind of started taking shape, didn't it? We saw a lot more UFO news coming out, UAP news, whatnot was coming out, but it really just went nuts somewhere around the beginning of December. And we told you, December and January those are the months. For whatever reason, this seems to happen in December and January.
And our theory behind why the reason is because we're all busy.
Yeah.
We're not paying attention. December, everybody's busy trying to go Christmas shopping, or you're out hunting, or you're going doing something. You're not paying attention to the news. January, you're trying to recover from December.
That's why they drop like scandalous news on Friday nights, like anything that's like really scandalous.
Right.
It's Friday night at 9 or 10 o'clock is when they drop that stuff. That way you forget about it before you go to work around the water cooler the next Monday, and it fizzles out before it can gain any steam.
This gained steam, and it was picked up by just about every news media source out there. On December 7th was when the Pentagon UFO Rapid Response Team was ordered by Congress. Okay. I'm going to read this really quick, and I went back and looked at this, and I couldn't even believe it myself, how close this all comes. Coincidence or not, you decide. There's no edits here. This is exactly how it was reported. And incidentally, you can see all this and keep up to date with all this news on our Facebook group, the Wild and Weird, what is it? I don't remember the name of it. Wild and Weird UFO Paranormal.
Wild and Weird UFO Paranormal Talk group.
That's the one.
It's real wordy. We've been trying to fix that for years.
Nah, it's not going to happen. So it's all good. So come on over. I mean, there's about 3,000 people who don't care. And, it's news, right? I mean, it's not just your typical page, or a group. So
anyway. you don't get any of the spam. You don't get any of the hoaxy weird stuff. We sort all of that out, and so come join the page, come check it out, come be a part, get involved in the conversation.
Unless we want to make an example of a hoax, I guess, right?
That's the only time they go out.
So December 7th, the Rapid Response Team was ordered by Congress. December 11th, another news story. Scientists will release over 3 terabytes of UFO data in 2022. Okay, includes 600 hours of video. December 13th, the Moon Hut story breaks. If you don't know what that is, tune in to last week's episode of Wild and Weird Radio. We went over a very in-depth discussion on that. December 15th, Congress okays the $770 billion defense spending bill with the UFO transparency legislation that was placed in the 2022 National Defense Authorization Act, and it passed. Okay, so the significance of that is that there's a transparency legislation in there, which says that some of this has to be made public for you, me, and everybody else. So that's no longer a matter of hiding behind, closed doors. They'll still do that, but, we're going to get some stuff. December 16th, one day later. December 16th, significant amounts of water confirmed on Mars. This makes the headlines. December 24th, NASA looks to the heavens for help. I love this one. This was one of my favorite. On December 24th, NASA looks to the heavens for help. Agency enlisted 24 theologians to assess how the world would react to the discovery of alien life on distant planets and how it might change our perception of gods and creation. And I want to look back at this for just 1 second, what I just said. The discovery of alien life on distant planets. This is what we had said.
We're looking at near planets, right? When we talk Mars, we're talking about a near planet. Distant planets have never been really part of the conversation before.
But we predicted distance because distance is not as scary. Distance means it's out there. It can't bother you. This is a good way to assimilate people, right, into the acceptance of something. So, and then one day right after this, December 25th, James Webb launches. And immediately in one of the interviews, they talked to this guy from Ohio, I think it was, and he says, his comment is this: that James Webb will have discovered evidence of extraterrestrial life within 5 years of its activation. What?
Yeah.
So
it's a pretty straightforward statement.
I don't even have to make this up, and I don't have to draw you a line or connect dots anymore. There it is. It's all right there.
Right.
We're just going to see what happens in 2022. I mean, you want predictions? I'll give you predictions, but
my first prediction for 2022 is the headline speaker for Wild and Weird Con is going to be Commander Zorpazorp.
Yes.
And
yes.
He'll be giving his State of the Galaxy address.
Yep. I think Valiant Thor might join him.
Yeah.
Possibly in the cold sun. I don't know.
So you guys have a real quick rundown there of what this snowball looked like coming in from early December to present day.
It's still coming.
And if there's anything that pops up between now and when you actually listen to this episode, we are doing a live. Hopefully all three of us will be on it, but at least two of us will be on it.
Well, it would have occurred before this. So time travel.
Yeah, you're hearing about this now, but you're going to get filled in on some gaps, so you will have been filled in on some gaps leading up to today's episode. So that's going to be fun. Then we've got predictions.
Well, one little thing first before predictions.
Yeah, go for it.
Did you happen to see the interview with Luis Elizondo on the Theory of Everything podcast?
Yes.
Okay, when they asked him about Skinwalker Ranch, they asked him about Bigfoot, they asked him about all of these things, and he basically said, and actually said, all I can say is that there are things that go bump in the night. He is basically disclosing there that there is government knowledge of physical cryptids. This is not something that is just
out there.
A whim. This is not something that is just something we do for fun as a hobby. This is something that now we are getting validation for something that we've known for years. And that's huge. That's absolutely huge. That there is definitely evidence for things that go bump in the night. And that was awesome to hear. That was awesome to hear.
And I'm so glad you brought that up because that one almost slipped my mind. But that was one of the big things. We've been listening to a lot of Luis Elizondo's interviews that he's been doing recently. It was part of the Snowball.
Right.
And in that that podcast got thrown in there because I was just looking up all these different interviews with him.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard that part, like everything in my brain's like, okay, yeah, because I hear it from Ron all the time. UFO, UFO, aliens, UFO, UFO. It's aliens. And then all of a sudden, Luis Elizondo is like talking, and they ask about the cryptids, and he's like, something goes bump in the night. There is something that goes bump in the night. And I was just like, oh wait a minute, what?
But you've also heard me say it's all related.
Yeah. You do say it's all related. I know. But it was just something, it was kind of categorically different.
Yeah.
That kind of caught it. Because I was listening for USO. Yeah, technically USOs, unidentified submerged objects.
Yeah.
But I was listening for UFO data and kind of pinning down notes. And then all of a sudden, here comes a question about cryptids. And I'm like, what? Yeah. So that was really cool.
Yeah. So I thought that was like notable because it's all of this UAP disclosure is going on right now, and it's huge. It's absolutely huge. But the fact that now we just got a little bit of a peppering in that there is evidence for physical cryptids that the government knows about, that was such a spark. You have no idea how excited I am right now about that. So it's and like I said, when these things happen and it's exponential, it accelerates exponentially. So I am very excited to see what happens over the next year and
absolutely
where we're going to be next year, how our podcast next year is going to go.
We're going to be really big on Zeta Reticuli.
Yeah, we're going to be huge in Zeta Reticuli and out on, what's that star constellation that's on the Space Force logo, Ron?
Oh, that's the Pleiades, yeah.
The Pleiades, yeah, we're going to be huge in the Pleiades too. I got a feeling we're going to be on all of these different Pleiadian TV shows by that point. We'll be the new news anchors.
The Ganymedian star cluster out there near Lanulus, those places. That could be good. You caught it. Okay,
that was good.
That was good.
That was good. I dig it.
Got to stay on your toes.
I dig it.
But Luis Elizondo, like I told you, I'm not convinced that Elizondo is not an alien. So it's just me, right? So I said it. I'll say it again. There's no proof that he's not an alien. Okay,
that's true. So there's no proof that you're not an alien too.
I didn't say that.
That's right.
And none of us said that. Did any of us say anything about me? No.
I had a thought too that
you had another dream, didn't you?
No, I didn't. No.
Okay.
I had a little thought in my walnut brain here. So I had a thought that could he be a disinformation agent? Could he? Because he's giving a lot of interviews, he's talking a lot about it. Could he be a disinformation agent? But then I'm thinking, okay, if he's a disinformation agent, that's a lot of that they're telling us all this as disinformation, then the truth must be horrifying, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like if they're telling us all this as disinformation as red herrings, these are the red herrings, then what is the reality of this situation? So that's a little scarier to think about.
That is very valid.
Yeah,
absolutely valid. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
Really good point to bring up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as far as predictions go, 2022. I mean, man. You can sit here and say, 2022, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. The truth is, it's an unwritten slate at this point. I don't know.
And right now, it's so up in the air.
It really is.
We could literally just throw topics in the air and throw a dart and probably nail it.
Yeah.
Because it's just wild.
Do I think that we're going to have confirmation of some sort? Yes, we will. Of some sort, I think by the end of 2022, it's going to be big. It's a paradigm shift, and it will come.
Yeah.
And this is the year that it comes. But I told you, this is all done in phases. If you go back and listen to the first time we talked about this, phases. You don't do it all at once, okay? And if it does happen all at once, then there's
something wrong.
It's the worst case scenario that we've discussed before.
Right.
And I don't really necessarily believe that that's what it is, but it's on the table. Everything's on the table. So
Commander Zorp and Lieutenant Zarbon are here. And they're here to collect.
They're not happy. Yeah, they're not happy. So exactly. So I do think that we will have a hard confirmation of some form of extraterrestrial life, whether it be microbial or whether
it'll probably be microbial. You gotta think how people's brain work.
You gotta ease them into it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you got to get in the kiddie pool. They're going to go microbial first.
It's going to be either microbial or it's going to be very, very, very distant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to be very careful with distant, because if you go
And probably
distant,
both.
well, if you go
It'll
distant,
probably be very distant microbial life.
the problem is with this: if you go distant, and you say we found, signs of something that existed, I don't know, 1,000 light years away, 10,000 light years away, that's ancient aliens. You don't really want to go there unless you have to go there.
Yeah.
See, so
warp bubbles.
Yeah, exactly. Microbial is probably the safest bet.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going to go with it. If it's done, it's going to be microbial. And personally, I can't wait to see some of these other claims of this sci-tech that's coming out.
Yeah.
AI is ridiculous at this point. So I expect to have a full army of Cylons next year that will follow me around and will. Oh, sorry. Never mind.
I just want the hot Cylons. I'm not really interested in the bucket head thing. I just want the hot ones. Yeah.
I agree.
So let's skip to that
model.
part.
The 6 model is the best
skip
model.
to that model, please.
Yes.
Yep. I concur. So here's going to be my prediction for 2022. The Wild and Weird workshops are going to be awesome. The research that you guys are going to continue to get fed through 2022 by listening to Wild and Weird Radio, watching Hellbent Holler, watching the Wild and Weird West Virginia YouTube, and keeping up with the research stuff from all of the aspects that we're throwing it out to you guys in. You're going to get a lot of good content. You're going to maybe we might find Bigfoot. Maybe. I don't know.
Really?
I mean, I was on a show called Finding Bigfoot, and we found something, but we couldn't call it Bigfoot. So I mean, I don't know what we're going to find.
Right.
But then Wild and Weird Con is going to be fantastic, and then the Wood Booger Jamboree.
You forgot to mention something. I mean, you can come back to Wood Booger because that's important. We were actually featured in a publication this year.
Yeah, we were featured in the Dark Skies, UFO Dark Skies. That was great.
We're in Dark Skies, and we had the book by Dave.
Yeah, the book. Oh yeah, we had a cookbook. Yeah, I forgot about the cookbook. Man, it's just been
it's been crazy. There's really been a lot of stuff going on that people don't have any clue about behind the scenes, with a lot of the projects that we can't talk about, and we never can talk about. We're like the government, aren't we? We tell people that we're working on stuff, and they're like, "Oh, sure they are," and then we come out with it, and they're like, "I'll be darned, they really are."
So, I can guarantee you that 2022 is going to be our biggest year yet, across the board, for Wild and Weird, for Hellbent Holler, for everything we've got going on. You guys will be just force-fed weird, bizarre, cryptid content against your will.
Yeah.
And if you don't consume it, whatever cryptid it is that you are fascinated with and have an attachment to will die. So you have to go and subscribe.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Hit that notification bell.
Uh-huh.
That way, that little lone baby Bigfoot with the cute puppy dog eyes that looks up at you out through the cold, dark windows will stay alive and will get a little bit of warmth in its heart. So go subscribe, hit that notification bell on the Wild and Weird West Virginia page and on the Hellbent Holler page. Got to hit them both. Or else Bigfoot gets it. So then share, subscribe, go do all the things.
It's the most pathetic and desperate attempt to gain viewership that I have ever heard in my entire life. Jesse, can you please take over here?
Yes, I'm going to take over.
Thank you.
So it's really important that you guys consume what we produce, because we spend a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of money sometimes doing this. And we are so happy to share this with you guys. This is our passion. This is our love. This is what we do. And we really want to encourage everybody to get involved in this, and, even start your own things, start your own podcast, start your own YouTube channels and everything like that, because we're so passionate about the world of cryptids and UFOs and paranormal activity and everything. We're so passionate about it that we want to share that with all of you guys, and we want you guys to be a part of it. We really want you to join us at all of these conventions and all these events. Enjoy the videos that we put out, because we make them for you so that you can really enjoy and watch these things. We love doing it. We love having you guys be a part of it. We love the discussions that we have with everybody that watches our stuff. I've met some of the best people I've ever met in my life through this work. And it's just really important that you share it, and you can probably make somebody in your lives happier and better if they kind of have a little bit of mystery in their life and a little bit of wonder in their lives, because right now it's really hard for a lot of people. Around this time of year, it's hard for a lot of people, and a lot of people feel very alone and just hopeless, and like there's nothing left and there's nothing out there. But the truth is, there's a lot of mystery left in this world, and if we can just spark a little bit of that in some people, then I think we've done a really good job. So make sure you watch, like, subscribe, share, and all of that good stuff, because we love you guys, and we just want to do this all the time and get bigger and bigger and go to crazier places. So we can't do it without you. So we really appreciate everything you've done for us this year, and we really look forward to doing a lot more for you guys next year.
In Puma Punku.
Bleep blorp.
Well, I think that wrapped it up better than any of us could. Happy New Year, everybody. And
Happy
remember,
New Year. Yeah,
as always, stay wild and weird.
Bye, everybody.